Well, hello there, everybody. This is Soph,
This is Rich.
and we are from
Across
across the
the
pond.
pond. Hi, Rich. You okay?
Hey, what's going on? Oh, this weekend has been a whirlwind.
A whirlwind? I've never
Oh
heard that
yeah,
before. Not even a whirlwind, a
no,
whirlwind.
a whirlwind, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, don't hold back. Go straight in. What's happened? What's happened in the whirlwind?
Uh, what's going on this weekend? As of Friday, our governor has shut us down partially. So all bars, restaurants, and what else? Gyms are now closed. When I say restaurants, there's like no sit-in dining, and that was as of midnight of Friday. So like now there's nowhere to go eat, hang out, nowhere, no
Is
gym.
that just your state or across the board?
I think it's just our state. The governor's not playing. He's like, yo, they're getting ready for this whole vaccine. The vaccine finally got approved, so we'll see.
You must be gutted that the gyms are closed.
I try. I'm not a big gym rat, but I try. You know, I'm more I'm more upset about sitting in and eating.
Oh. But you
You
can
know.
still go to people's houses. You just can't go to restaurants and stuff.
Well, no, they are saying if you don't have to go anywhere, keep your tail at home. They're even telling you to wear a mask inside your own home.
Mm.
hmm So then I was thinking, so then I got nervous because Christmas is coming, so I had to like boogie out and try to get all my shopping done. And I'm not an online shopper, people. So please forgive me. Matter of fact, I'm not a shopper, period. So I made do. I made do. And now I'm just like, I need a drink. Cheers.
Yes.
That's my week. I'm sorry, people. I started. I normally say ladies first, but
It's all right. As you would say, you feel some type of way about that, so you just went
oh
straight
man,
in.
yeah. So what's
So you've
going on
spent the
with you?
weekend shopping. I've spent the weekend, put my Christmas tree up. Oh,
Oh.
yes. Put my Christmas tree up. I did
Let
that
me ask you.
yesterday.
Let me ask you a quick short fire. Real or fake?
Oh my God, I love real every year. I had real last year, but I've got fake this year.
I'm gonna tell you, I grew up fake, color coded. I did a couple real trees when my kids were small, and they're just messy to me. I was dealing with pine needles till June,
I
so I'm
mean,
good. And then
I
you throw
put,
that nasty tree out on your curb. It just makes your property look tacky because they'll take forever to pick that tree up.
oh no, here they give you certain days like that they're going to come and collect it. Um, a real one looks so much better, smells nicer, all the rest of it, but they're not cheap. I don't know about there, but they ain't cheap here. So we got to fake it till we make it.
No, I grew up watching. I grew up with a fake tree,
But
so
I mean, to
I'm
me
good.
too. But to be fair, when I went to that Christmas shop with my mum, they had fake trees there. But there was one for £230.
I'm
That's
gonna tell you right now, I did buy a grip. I did spend a grip on my Christmas tree because it has like the built-in lights, so no more untangling lights.
Mhm.
And then it had like it really looked real because it had like frost on it and the pine cones and stuff. So I did go in one year.
To be
And to
fair,
be honest with you, I still
to be
have
fair,
that
it's
tree.
it's an investment, and I think next year I'm going to buy a new one, and I have to be one of these people that pays a ridiculous price because mine's a 6 foot one, but it's really full and bushy at the top. But I noticed yesterday as it gets further down, it's a bit sparse, and I like it to be full and like. Ooh.
Well, no, you know what? I've learned how to like make your joint full. It's like two up, one down. That's what I was told. You know the branches?
Uh-huh.
It's two up, one down, or I think it's two down and one up on
I,
each
I I hear what you're saying. I just don't think mine's got enough arms on it to even
side.
hit full. So I really think what they say: buy cheap, buy twice. So that was my schoolboy error. I need to invest.
Yeah, you got to invest in a
Yeah,
tree if you're going to go fake, go all the way in.
agree. Well, Corona's hit the pocket this year with business and all that, so we'll go
What?
next year and get a fat one. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I put my Christmas decorations up. I got my Christmas doormat for when people come in, Christmas tree, Santa please stop here sign in the window,
Mm-hmm.
my wreath with lights on the door.
Mm.
Love it.
I'm telling you right now,
Stockings
I'm
on the
hood.
chimney.
I'm just straight hood. I this year I went all out when I moved here when my kids were here, and I got like blow up stuff to go out in the front yard. I got a blow up Santa that hangs off the roof. I got candy cane lights, all that. I've done none of it this year. I think I'm like the only guy on the block that ain't got nothing decorated outside. I'm over it. I'm ready for 2021.
Listen, it's okay to be different. Don't be a follower, be a leader.
Oh,
Don't
I
just
know
put
for a
them
fact. I was
decorations
just
up
like, I
if you
know
don't want
everybody. It's like you see every house lit up but mine, and then you see more houses lit up. And guess what? I don't care.
it. Exactly. Be you, do you, for you. That's what I say.
Now the inside, now that's a different story. I'm still working on it. I got till Christmas.
So you haven't done anything inside yet.
Yes, I have, but
If you put
nothing
your
to like write home about.
oh,
I got the tree up. I didn't decorate it yet. I got my nativity scene out. I got my gingerbread land out, lit up. I got some snow globes. I turn them on when I feel like it. And Christmas snow globes, and I got a couple lights here and there. But like I said, this year has kind of dampened my holiday spirit.
do you know? I ain't gonna lie, mine too. But we got to get into it. 2 weeks on
Yeah.
Friday, just gone. It will be Christmas Day. Well,
Hey,
this
let me
time in
ask
two
you,
weeks' time, it will all be over,
like it never happened.
like it never happened.
All
But
right, what's going on in the news? What's going on in the news?
I haven't finished my weekend yet. I only told you about my Christmas tree. Um,
Go for it.
I did watch the boxing last night. AJ, Anthony Joshua pulled it out of the bag. What
Did
a
he?
fight!
I
What a fight.
You know what? That's gonna be a really good topic. I'm gonna save it for later. I do like
Boxing.
Anthony Joshua, but we're gonna because you're such a boxing fan, and
Mhm.
so am I.
But I
I
just got to
grew up.
say, the guy last night was a Bulgarian guy, 39. And obviously, that's not old. I'm going to be 39 on Thursday. But he looked old. He looked old and he looked a little bit out of shape. Um, but I'll give him his props.
He was talking trash though during the weigh-in.
Anthony Joshua knocked him down like 5 times and he just gave blood everywhere, but he just kept getting back up. And I was like, no way,
Now that's a fight.
Then he bopped him down again. And I see matey stumbling to his knee and I said, he's not going to get back up. He is. He got back up. He took some serious punches, but it was a good fight. Round 9, bam.
That's worth
He
fighting.
down.
That's worth paying $75 in pay-per-view for. But it was free. Am I correct?
No, it was £20, 19.99.
Oh, to watch it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know it pay-per-view.
There used to be, there don't seem to be any free fights these days.
Oh,
It's a
yes, there
joke.
is. There was a lightweight bout last night. Um, but like I said, that's a whole nother topic because we're going to get really deep in that
But
because you're
anyway,
a
that's what else
boxing
I did at
fan.
the weekend. Watch the boxing.
Yeah.
As regards the news, still the corona, still Brexit. You know, are we going to leave the EU? What deal are we making? Boris Johnson flitting here, there, and everywhere without wearing a mask, getting on a plane. Nothing new, nothing new.
Well, here we are going to get snow on Wednesday to Thursday. We're supposed to get our first snowstorm.
You're going to have snow on my birthday. Oh, I love it.
Yes.
You know,
And I'm gonna show
actually,
you it too. If it happens, I'm gonna tell you, I live in a valley. So for us to actually get really good snow, it has to be slow and sit right over top of us. Cause I live like it's like a valley. So what happens is the higher elevation get all the snow. And then if it doesn't stay right, you know what I mean? Then what happens is it just blows by us and we'll probably get a dusting. But
well,
they're saying that because it's going to be slow, we're going to get some of that. And to be honest with you, I think we only got like a drop of snow last year, and that was it. I got a big industrial sized snowblower and didn't even use it.
I'm telling you, I live at the top of the hill. So even if there's one snowflake that drops, I normally get snowed in.
Oh yeah,
Literally, we
that's
get
dope.
we get it all here.
See, I work at night, so I'm like this. Let me get a couple of days off. Thank you, Lord Jesus.
Oh, because my town is full of hills, so
Mhm,
if it snows, the whole town almost comes to a standstill.
mhm. And then what else is going on in the news? Oh, our president.
We're back to him
Pray
again.
for him. That's all I'm going to say. Pray for him. This man is losing his mind. He tried to get Texas to file a lawsuit on other states on how they handle the election. There's actually riots in the street about them turning over the election. It ain't going to happen. It's sad. And all the while, he just, to me, has just checked out. Like, there's a pandemic going on. He's at an Army Navy game flipping a coin. I'm just over him right now.
Okay, well,
But with
let's
the
get.
vaccine has been approved, um, they are starting to issue it out. Uh, do I know when we're all going to get it? Don't know. They said it's going to go all the way into 2021, and the new regime is going to be the ones that's going to be handling it. It got approved here, but then now the new president's got to deal with it all. And they're just saying if people can just wear a mask like they're supposed to, do what the CDC says, and just, I guess, hope for the best because, Christmas is coming, New Year's Eve is coming, St. Patrick's Day is coming. There's a lot of big activities that groups of people like doing. And it's just making it hard for this pandemic to go away.
Well, I ain't being funny. I, for one, am absolutely sick to the back teeth of hearing about
Oh
it.
my God. I swear to God, I feel it back here. I'm done with it. I hope there's something great that comes out of the news, like something like, you know what I love to hear? Babies being born on New Year's.
Yeah, agree.
Because, like I said, TJ and Neve was a New Year baby, New Year's Eve baby. She's a New Year's baby. Can't mess her. You can't mess her birthday up. She's my princess. You can't mess it up. All right, that's it for me. News.
That's it for me. You took the baton back off, and you've ended it. So
Weekend.
weekend's gone in the blink of an eye. Gone,
Blink.
blink. Put a tree up. Watch a mock boxing match. That's it. Back to work and school Monday.
Back
Here we go.
back to work as usual.
Bish bash bosh,
Mm-hmm.
as we were. So it's serious Sunday today.
Yes. Let me ask you a question. When we're going to talk about this, and I think this is pretty relevant. School. How was your schooling growing up?
Hated school.
And oh man, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a fan of school at all. I mean, I did it, done it. I furthered my education. Yes, I know a lot of people who further their education. Yes, but I know a lot of people who have been successful without education,
I like
without
to
that
think I'll be
paper.
one of those.
And but my thing with school now being that it's virtual, a lot of kids are missing out on senior night, senior week, proms, graduations even. You know what I mean? How was your growing up in school, and then how is the grade levels separated in the UK?
Oh my god, so many questions in one go.
I know I'm going in. I'm going
You're going in. You got to bear with me. I'm tired today, but I'm here. I'm with it. Okay, so school for me, I wasn't. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't a fan. Whoever says they're the best days of your life, I don't know why they say. The only reason I can think they say that is because you don't have any responsibilities. You don't pay any bills. Um, Other than that, they're not the best days of your life. I was um either bullied because I was fat or bullied because my mum's gay. And you've got to remember, this is like, God, I want to think, we're talking 20, 30 years ago. So, being
But
gay
bullying
wasn't,
it. But you know what though? I hate to cut you off, but bullying is even different now.
I know it's different now, but we're come to this day and age. But so yeah, you've got to remember, like 30 years ago, now, people are more open about their sexuality, but back in the day, 80s, it wasn't the done thing, so like you being the only house on the block with no lights on, I was the only kid that had a gay parent. So yeah, I was bullied for either being fat or because my mom was gay. So I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't even do my, over here we have GCSEs. So
Okay, explain what that GSEs
that's
is.
your exams when you leave secondary school, that then whether you're going to go on to higher education like college or uni, or whether what job you're going to get. I didn't even take those. I left school a few weeks before we did our exams because it just got too much, I'm not going to lie. So yeah, I didn't even do my GCSEs. I did go on to get a job in a nursery looking after children, and I studied for my MVQ at the same time in childcare and customer service. But as of regards of getting qualifications from school, I got zil.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
I've gone on to have businesses, like I've got 3 businesses now. I had a cleaning business before I was a photographer. I've always had a job. Ever since I left school, I've always had a job.
yeah.
So
Well, that's great, and that's you know what, and that's admirable to be, honest enough to talk about your education. Um, but like when you say secondary school, what is secondary school? Like we have here, we have like I'm gonna give you a breakdown of how we do school here. We have elementary school, which is from kindergarten to fifth grade.
what age is that?
I couldn't tell you.
Oh.
Kindergarten it normally starts at like pre kindergarten is maybe like 3 or 4,
Hmm.
and then you go to first grade, which are probably like maybe 6 or 5 or 6 no, K5 is, yeah, so about sixth grade you start first grade on up,
Hmm.
and that's so from kindergarten to fifth grade. I think you're about 11 or 12. And then middle school, you hit your teenage years. You hit like 11, 12, 13, 14 maybe.
Hmm.
And then and middle school is from sixth grade to eighth grade. And then ninth grade is freshman. Sophomore is, I mean, yeah, sophomore is 10th grade. Junior is 11th grade. And senior is 12th grade. That's high school. And most people graduate at like 17, 18. And then you have some people that'll graduate, like if they start their birthdays late in the year and they start at school late, they graduate like 19.
So you stay in school until 18, 19.
Right. So
Okay.
it's from kindergarten to 12th grade.
Okay, how it works here is you have preschool, which is from 2.5 to preschool. You can go 2.5 till you're 5, 4, 5. Then you go to first school, and you stay there until you're, gosh, let me think.
So they go by grade, they go by age level or grade level.
Yeah, age level, and then the education is called key stage, so then that's whatever you are in the curriculum, but it goes by year. The school year goes from September to July. So like me, my birthday's in December. I was one of the oldest in that year.
Mhm.
um but yeah, then you go to middle school and you stay there till you're 11. It used to be 12, but before you leave there, you take an exam called your 11 plus, which will determine what secondary school you go to, whether you go to like like the Royal Grammar, which is more, oh god, I can't even explain it. Like basically, if you're great, they give you, let's just say you got 1 to 100 in the exam. Anybody that scores above 90, they can go to a higher educational school. So and then the other ones just go to, like, I don't know, you'd call it a normal school. So yeah, you do this thing called a 12 plus, which determines, or 11 plus now it is, determines what secondary school you're going to go to. Then you say
Now,
stay
I hate to cut you off. Secondary school is what, high school?
east, yeah, what you would call high school. You stay there
Okay.
till you're 16. That's when you do your GCSEs to determine have you got good enough grades to go to college. So after when you're 16, you do your GCSEs. Then if you choose to, you go to college for 2 years. And then after that, you can then go on to uni if you do your more exams and you get certain grades and you want to go to uni. You know, like if you want to be a doctor or if you want to be a brain surgeon.
And
Then,
uni people is university
oh, sorry, yeah.
or college.
No, it's not college. College is before
Okay.
university.
There's a full university.
Yeah,
So
you go
uni
to
is,
college for 2 years. You can't go to university unless you've been to college.
oh, okay.
And then, however long you're at university, depends on what you're studying. I'm assuming if you want to be a brain surgeon, you've got to stay there for like 4 years. But if you wanted to be, for example, a hairdresser, I know that's not the case. You don't have to go uni for that, but then you'd only stay there for a year. So it depends what course you pick, what job you're going to go to, what career, depending on
So
how.
basically, uni is like a vocational school.
Like a what?
A votech, like a, see what how we're broken down here. You have college type schooling, which, and I went to a high school where it was basically like if you weren't didn't want to go to college, you had trades. And that means you had like a carpentry class, we had a mechanic class, we had masonry, we had horticulture, we had cosmetology, which is hairdressing. And those were all kind of like trades to where like you didn't really need college, but you can further your education and take like a vocational course to
Okay.
where like when you got out, like you weren't going into college, you were going into the workforce.
Okay, it's
You know what I'm saying?
changed since I was at school. You left school when you were 16 and you either went to college and furthered your education or you went and got a job. If you didn't get a job,
Mhm.
I don't know, I suppose you turned into a bum. Now the government has changed it where, yes, you do your exams at 16, but you either go to college or you have to get a job. You have to do one of the two. So you can get an apprenticeship. So you basically get paid an absolute pittance, but you're learning on the job, you know, a trade, as you would say. And you have to do that till you're at least 18, an apprenticeship or college, either or.
Yeah. Now, what I found difficult in school, what first of all, before I go there, you said that school for you, you didn't really like it because of the bullying and stuff like that. But I know there's some part or some period in your school life that you enjoyed. Was there any part of school that you enjoyed? Because I'm gonna tell you, I liked high school, but
Mm.
I'm gonna tell you, middle school for me was the best. I learned everything in middle school, so that when I went to high school, you pretty much, from a man's standpoint, you pretty much knew how to handle yourself as far as physically, mentally, you were kind of up there. You know what I mean? And it was kind of like you still were a little intimidated because when you got to high school, you're walking around with like kids that are way older than you. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
10th, well, like 11th and seniors, you're watching, you're looking at girls and football players. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
guys you kind of like looked up like the jocks and stuff like that and the cheerleaders. So it was different and it was cool. But for me, my years of schooling that I thought was the best was middle school. And I'm gonna
Yeah,
explain to
I
you
I
why. But
think
for
I
you,
liked school up until it was time to go to secondary school. You know, like first school and middle school. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I was always like top of the class. I always had literally shiny reports. You know,
mhm,
um, but yeah, up until then, secondary school, where you're literally chucked in, like you say, with the big people, and you've got to grow up like
mhm,
now. You know, it was rubbish. It was
it's
rubbish.
intimidating. I think high school is very intimidating. But when I was growing up, I'm gonna tell you, my best years was middle school.
Mm. I mean, don't get me wrong. I did have some laughs in secondary school. You know, like turning up late to Faye in science so many times and getting shouted at by the teacher. We weren't allowed in the class because we were late. Or going to cooking with Michaela. And I mean, I personally don't
Home
remember.
ec, huh? Home ec.
I
We call it
personally
home
don't remember.
economics.
I personally don't remember this, but apparently, what we always used to cook the same, and then we'd eat it at lunchtime. We wouldn't even take it home. Um, but one day we were in there and we were talking, and I can't even remember. I'm going to tell you this story. And the teacher said, "Right, that's it, Michaela, go to the year head's office. You know, you two, I've had enough, Michaela." And I stood up and said, "She ain't going anywhere." Um, I don't remember that, but you can ask Michaela. She says it's a true story. So then we got separated, obviously.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, I mean, do you have to wear school uniform there?
no. I
Never.
mean, nowadays they have instituted khakis and a polo, which to me is the best thing they should have done that a long time ago. But
They done what?
they instituted khakis,
What's that?
polos. Khakis are like a style of pants, and a
Okay.
polo is just like a button
Oh
up.
yeah, I know a polo shirt. So now here, excuse me, there's a uniform. The only time you don't have to wear uniform is preschool, but as soon, and even some of them you do, as soon as you get to first school, so from like the age of 5, you have to wear a shirt, either a polo shirt or a white shirt, jumper or cardigan, and skirt or trousers. And then when you get to secondary school, which is your high school, you then have to wear a blazer and a tie, whichever is the color coordinated to that school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, see here when I was growing up, like you wore what you had. And I'm gonna tell you, it's hard for me to look back and not think about like the styles that was going on in school. Like you had best dress, you had people that could really dress. I'm talking about like you can tell who had money and who didn't. And I think nowadays, the way society is now, I think having a dress code is the best thing ever because you can focus more on schooling
Mm-hmm.
than focusing on like who's got the best kicks on or who has the best outfit on. Because when we was coming up, I'm gonna tell you the starter jacket was the thing. Jordans was the thing. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
like, and then I come from like I wouldn't say a rough area, but like I've remembered a guy in the middle of winter getting his jacket, his starter jacket, taken right off his body from another guy. He was like, "Come on, man, not my starter jacket." Yeah, let me get that.
See,
So
here you have to wear uniform, but then like say Christmas time or if there's an event, we'd have what's called a mufti day, which means you can wear your own clothes for one day, you know. And you knew if you didn't have the trendiest or latest clothes, you was going to get beat up, you know, or you was going to get picked on, or somebody was going to say
yeah,
something,
I
you
got
know.
picked on a lot. I had a pair of sneakers called the Runarounds, and everybody was like, "Yo, where'd you get those from?" I got those from Pickway. So what? But see, me, I'm gonna tell you, when I was in school, I was considered a class clown. So like, I knew how to handle myself in that area. Like, and I knew I wasn't the best dresser. I know I didn't have the most expensive, but I tell you right now, though, it's called bussing or cutting on one another. And I was famous for that. Like, you get me in the morning, by the time we waiting for that school bus, I done picked you apart. I was famous for that, but I was considered a class clown, and I really didn't care. My twin, on the other hand, he was fashion. To the day he died, he was more fashionista than I've met. He take hours in the mall when it take me like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Because he was more like into that. Like I've never been into
Didn't you ever just
fashion
want
or
to? Didn't you ever
materialistic
just
stuff.
borrow his clothes?
No. You know what? It's weird when you have a twin because we were like awkward. Like one year I'd be taller than him, and then one year he'd be taller than me. So none of our clothes really fit each other. You know what I mean? And then like we kind of like came into our own style because then when you started working, then I started working. So then I started buying my own clothes, my own gear. And he started working. He started buying his own clothes, his own gear. So we kind of like had our own identities. So it was kind of like hard for me to like, yo, let me rock that because it's like I wasn't into that style that he was
Mhm.
rocking. And he wasn't into my style. So it's kind of like we had our own individuality. And my dad was a strickler, so there was no, pants hanging down. You had to had a belt on, or that was problems in the house. Like, yo, put a belt on. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
to be fair, I don't that doesn't look right. But let me ask you a question then. So when you see films about America and American schools and stuff, nine
Mhm.
times out of ten, they've always got these big, massive metal detectors that the kids have got to walk through when they go through the door. Is that true, or is that just in films?
No, in certain areas that is true. Not in all areas, though.
Okay. Did you have
Certain
that at
areas
any of your
you have,
schools?
huh?
Did you have that at any of your schools?
No,
Okay.
I think I had it towards the end of my years, but to be honest, when I was coming up, you use these. You use these. You use
Hmm.
these. These were your guns, your left and your right hand. I'm gonna tell you, that's when I say like middle school was it for us. We went to a school that was called Middle School Scott and Rowland, and the nickname for that school was called the Zoo.
The
And the
zoo?
reason why they called it the Zoo is because everybody in Pennsylvania in our area went to that school. There was no like, we got two different high schools. So you had William Penn and you had John Harris. John Harris was the, if you were going to college, you went there. If you were getting a trade, you went to William Penn. And it kind of like, as we got older, it was kind of like by districts. Like if you lived uptown, most people, you caught a bus to John Harris if you were going to college. If not, you were going to William Penn, which was a Votech school, which was a trade school. But in middle school, though, everybody and their mama went to that school. So whether you were uptown, the hill, the south, the projects, wherever you were, if you were in our town, you went to that school. And it was just so much fun, and it was dangerous at times. It was fun, but you like learned so much. I think I learned so much in middle school, the zoo, that it was just ridiculous. It was, and then it was broken down into four categories. So you had Scott and Roland, and you had um oh, I'm trying to think. I don't want to say it wrong, but someone will correct me when the show's
Mhm.
over. But you had 1 through 4. It was kind of like a grade system, kind of. So like if you was in uh pod 1 or 2, you were kind of like, I wouldn't say you were kind of like kind of smart, but then it was like bad kids in like one of theirs, and you
Okay.
had third or fourth, which you was kind of like, I wouldn't say you were slow, but like you were kind of like in between. And then you had like other departments. But I kid you not, we had swimming, we had basketball. They taught you how to swim. You played I mean, it was like a melting pot of like everything. And like you learned how to fight in middle school. You learned how to talk to girls in middle school. Like you learned how to swim, play any sport that you were into. We even had an outdoor center where we went on nature trails, and they taught you about like different plants and animals. I mean, it was great. It was
Hmm.
great.
Yeah,
And then we
we
got
had.
home back where we were making like teaching us how to sew. And I remember making a Ninja Turtle pillow and making an ice cream cone and pillow. These are pillows that you got a pattern, and they showed you how to sew. They showed us how to cook. We made brownies and
We didn't have any of that until middle school. Middle school was when
yeah,
we
that's what I'm
learned
saying. Middle school,
not
that was
middle school,
it.
sorry, secondary school was when we had like sewing and cooking and stuff. But the secondary school I went to was actually nicknamed Prison on the Hill. It was literally notorious for being one of the worst schools, like in the
You know
area.
what? They hate to cut you off. You know what? The zoo was, I don't even never consider the zoo being dangerous. I always I always look back at middle school was like the best years of my life. No, don't get it wrong. I loved high school, but middle school was it. It was just like everybody you like knew, wanted to know, idolized, or whoever it was at that school.
Okay, but let's talk about education, right? Because
Yes, less, less.
let's be honest. I'm going to ask you a question, right? Since you've left education, school, college, uni, high school, whatever, How many times in your life have you needed to know how many wives Henry VIII had?
You know what? That is a true statement. And you
You
know what? And
haven't.
I
Do you know
still
there are so many grown adults that don't know how to read a utility bill, how to manage their money, how to sew, how to cook, how to do basic life skills, yet they'll know, oh, Henry VIII had 6 wives.
yeah.
How,
And you know what? I'm gonna tell you, since we're on this education trip, they used to say to us, the reason why we study history is because we don't want history to repeat itself. And
Mhm.
I get that. But there's a lot of history that they leave out of schools, especially for minorities,
There's a lot
because
of history that they leave out, and also the history that they do have, they should make way for life skills. Like for me, when we was in secondary school, you did every subject in the first 2 years. So year 8 and 9, you
Mhm.
did everything: history, religious education, geography, science,
Mhm.
English. You had
Mhm.
to choose a language. At that point, you only had two to choose from: French or German. Now they've got like a whole array: Spanish, Italian, whatever, But
ours
yeah,
was Spanish and I think French.
yeah, ours was French or German, and I chose French. Um, but then you had PE, you had art, woodwork,
Music.
drama, yeah, music. So in the first 2 years, you literally did everything. Then at the end of that, you had to choose which subjects you wanted to study, because then that would prepare you for what you were going to do exams on, because obviously that would prepare you for what career you wanted to go into.
Mhm.
Um, so at that point, I don't think I did I do history. I think they still make you do history, but again,
Yeah, we got history here.
what is the
Social
point?
studies.
And I tell you, the problem with education now is, me. Here goes the opinion. I'm going to get slated, but there's a new thing that's come out where basically from the age of 6, they will teach our children about the LGBT community and transgender, and like if you're, oh god, what do they call it when you're, like, say I wanted to be a man, what do they call it then?
Transgender.
Yeah, is that it? Sorry
Yeah.
to be ignorant. But yeah, and I think that's wrong.
Transgenderification.
Yeah, I think they are trying to. Kids are kids. What did you know? What um LGBT was when you were 6? No,
Hell
I'm not
no.
saying don't talk about it in schools. What I'm saying is allow
It
our
should be a
children to be
subject.
children. Then when they get to secondary school, if that is something they're curious about, or they want to learn in more depth,
Mhm.
then fair dues. But sex education really, and is only taught up until like the 3rd year, I think. And then it's, if you choose that as part of your thingy, then you learn about it. If not, then you don't. And I think, what do? Get a banana and teach you how to put a condom on, teach you about periods. um that's that.
I'm gonna tell you that what I don't like as far as school standardized testing.
Okay.
And standardized testing here is for actually it's just for money for the school. If you have a high percentage of kids who are excelling in your school, they get paid.
The kids or the school?
The school gets paid,
Mm.
okay? The district gets paid. And to me, I think it's unfair that you will give a standardized test to inner city and give the same test to, these really you would call posh, but schools that's already got the funding to have computers and to have this and have their education a little bit better than the inner cities. So then when you do these standardized tests, not everybody, and to me, I'm a prime example. Not everybody studies the same, thinks the same. And
Hmm.
if I come from one different social economic background versus someone who their mom and dad's making 6 figures and they're going to this really nice school that they got everything,
Mm.
who you think is going to make who you think is going to have better grades? You know what I mean? And I'm fortunate to have a father who, stuck on me, stayed on my back, and made sure I went to school. He was like, I don't care if you're like 30, if you don't get that diploma, that's where you'll be. But a lot of inner city kids don't have that. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Don't have that push. So therefore, they're fending for themselves. A lot of them don't know they have learning disabilities. A lot of them don't know that, like, hey, I might be dyslexic, meaning I might look at the words different than how you look at. And then
mhm,
guess what? They give them these standardized tests and hope for the best. And then guess what? When they come back and their stuff is not as good, then guess what? They don't get that type of money. You know who gets the money? The people that's already got the computers, that's already got this and that, and then their school is like up there in the upper echelons, and then you're giving us, you're giving our inner cities, and you're taking our money because now, say like if my son or daughter is a basketball player or a football player, guess what? I will pay the extra money to go to this school so
mm.
he can be looked at. You know what I mean? As a football or basketball prospect versus his education. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're going to get a better education, but still, why can't they say and just look at the inner city and look at the kids that are already their schools is already done and doing well? Okay, then guess what? Y'all get the less amount. How about we pour more money into the inner city kids and let them know that they're worth something? And that's the thing that bothers me. We have standardized tests where, and then it's gotten to the point to where, like, if your standardized test isn't good enough, then they're looking at you like, well, he shouldn't go on to the next grade. But I don't study the same as the next person.
Mm.
How about find out if how I'm studying could be done a little better or done differently?
Yeah, I do think
That's what I hate.
it is. There's no leeway almost. Even like now, Alfie had a new teacher. Um, when he went back in September. And she kept saying, "Oh, he hasn't had a good day. He's unsettled." Da, da, da. And I said to her, "What are we going to do? To look at this? There's obviously an issue." And she just kept saying, "I've got a structure. I've put a structure in place. My structure, my structure." And I was like, "That's great, but that's not working for my son. So how about what works for him to help him learn?" Do you know what I mean? You can't just go in there and say, "This is my structure, this is what I want to do, and I'm sticking to it, regardless of how every." I'm not going to lie, there's only 8 children in Alfie's class. He goes to a special needs school. There's only 8 children in his class. If you go to a mainstream school, there's like 30 kids per class. Um, so I get, obviously it's smaller classes, but to go in there and say, "This is my structure, this is the curriculum, and this is what I'm teaching," great. But if my son isn't learning or he's not getting it, you've got to make adjustments for that. And all she kept saying was, "Is I've got a structure, I've got a structure," and this is the problem, because Alfie goes to a special needs school. I'm not going to lie, I do not like the school at all. It's so inconsistent. This is his 4th year. Only the 2nd year was any good. Other than that, I'm not going to lie, it's been rubbish. But because it's a special needs school, I can't really just move him, because like in our town, there's loads of mainstream schools, one at the end of the road, this road, that road, whatever. Special needs schools, few and far between. He was one before, but if I was to have kept him there, it would be an hour's drive, because it's in a different county. He wouldn't have qualified to get any transport, so I would have had to have taken him and picked him up. So if
Mhm.
there was zero traffic on the road, it would have taken me an hour one way. So there and back, that's 2 hours. There and back to pick him up, that's 4 hours traveling just to get him to school every day. And the other one, that's the other direction. There's a massive waiting list to get there. So I feel like I don't have any
Well,
choice
see,
but to keep him in a shit school. Excuse
well,
me.
see, this is the thing. Like, not every parent is afforded the opportunity to, like, you know, every family is different. My son had a dyslexic. He was dyslexic, and he had an IEP, which is like a program where they help your student, they help their
Yeah,
child.
Alfie has a kid.
I used to be a pit bull because I used to tell him my son is not slow. Okay. So I don't want you to dumb down his work. Don't dumb it down for him. Just break it up for him. Because my son had a problem where, like, he had a problem with reading and math. So he would look at the numbers and he would read differently, or he'll look at the words differently. So I used to tell him every time I went into a meeting, yes, he's dyslexic, but he ain't slow. So therefore, don't dumb my son's work down. What I need you to do is I need you to break it up to where he can understand it and that he's not overwhelmed. Because most of the kids are overwhelmed. It's not that they don't know it, it's that they're overwhelmed with the workload. So like I would say, like for my son, I'm gonna break it down. He might have 50 math problems he has to get done. Okay, how about you give him 25? Let him do that 25. Let him get a little break in between, and then give him the next 25. I'm not trying to tell you there's 50 questions, everybody else gets 50, and my son just gets 25. No, I'm not feeling that. You know what I mean? Don't dumb down my son's education
This is
because
where I
you know
feel
what I
like
mean?
they look at the curriculum, not the child, and the child, like every child learns differently, you know. Um, so I think that they definitely need to, take that into consideration more. And
And
they,
you know what I also think they need to take in consideration? Um, when I was a teenager, I always barked, and I'm with you. I used to be the great debater. I used to be like, why ain't we learning how to balance checkbooks? Why ain't we learning how to file taxes? Why ain't we learning how to look at a electric bill? You're right. They should institute a lifestyle skill set for kids the whole way around when it comes to high school, because not everybody is built for college. Not everybody is built for a trade. Some people just are just not that good in school. They get out, they're just average, and they just want an average job, but yet they're paying people to file their income taxes. They're paying people to, you know what I mean? They're losing money because they're bouncing checks because they don't know how to file, fill out a check. And right now, cursive is becoming a lost language. Cursive writing, I have yet to see them bring home anything to where like you had to write your signature on. When I was coming up, you learned I know how to write in cursive.
mm,
Some of these kids don't. Cursive has become a lost art. You know what I mean? So,
because people are so used to typing these days rather than writing.
or this right here, Siri.
Yeah,
How do you spell? You know
yeah,
what I mean?
mm,
And they're taken away from life skills, and I agree with you wholeheartedly with that. But
mm.
then also, what I hate and I disagree with is the pay of a teacher. I think they should be getting paid. I'm gonna tell you, there's certain people that I think should be getting paid like NBA players and NFL players, soccer players, all these pro athletes that's making all this money and all they're doing is throwing a ball in a hoop.
Hmm.
How about these teachers that are painstakingly dealing with kids on a daily basis, dealing with the kids' family situations, their family lives, and they really are passionate about getting through to an inner city kid in their education? How about you pay that teacher what LeBron is being paid? How about you pay, no, how about you pay these um other further education that people that who love to come to school and teach kids, but yet they don't want to pay them.
I mean, there's
But then
another.
you have, but then on the to put, I hate to cut you off, but on the other side of the fence, when I was coming up, you had teachers that just came for a paycheck. Didn't care if you did your homework. Didn't care if you listened to what was on the car on the chalkboard. Didn't care if you took notes.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I get it, but I still think like military,
Yeah, I mean, there's totally another show there.
nurses.
There's totally another show. What professional sports people get paid compared to teachers, doctors, nurses that are bringing up your kids, life saving, all the rest of it. Yeah, that's a joke in itself.
Yeah, I really think that you're right. There should be a class on life skills. Like we had home
There
ec.
should be, and I don't understand how.
Home ec is not going to cut it.
I
Learning
don't
how to cook
understand
and
how
spell.
learning about the lesbian and gay and transgender community has made it into schools before lifestyle, life set skills of learning about taxes, mortgages, bill paying,
Yeah.
finances.
Rent, and how to
Yeah,
go
life
about
skills.
how to fill out
Exactly.
applications, and just simple now we had business courses where they taught you how to type, they taught you how to write a resume, all that good stuff. That's
Yeah.
fine and dandy, but then what do you learn after that? Like light bill, rent,
Hmm.
mortgage payments, escrow, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
How about this, go even further than that. You want to teach us how to be rocket scientists with algebra, all this. How about you talk about the stock market? How about you talk about interest rates? How about you talk about stuff like that, to where we're better educated when we do leave school, to where, like, okay, I can save and save up for a house, or I can
Yeah, and they've made
put a couple
changes,
dollars in the stock market. They're
like
not doing none of that.
they've made changes since we've been at school, but I can't believe that they haven't made sufficient changes in order to teach such everyday life skills.
Is a must.
Exactly. How to use a washing machine.
Yeah. How to read your meter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I totally agree. But then, when it comes to history, it was a big problem for me because I'm minority. We got February, which is what, 29 days out of a whole year that they talk about Black history, when Black people have been influential throughout decades and centuries, but you only get a month in school to talk about it. And it's the same people. It's the same people. Harriet Tubman, all these, the same people. How about we talk about some new people? Bring some insight. I mean, I know about the man who did peanut butter and all that good stuff. I know about Harriet Tubman. I know about Martin Luther King. I know about Malcolm X. How about some other pioneers that we can look up to as heroes, or stuff that maybe we don't know, but they won't do that though. You see what I'm saying? And I
I
think,
just
like,
think,
yeah, I understand history repeats itself, and
hmm,
I get it. And I do get, like, you know, um, learning about, your forefathers and all that. But then there's more to history than just Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and you know, Frederick Douglass, and you know what I mean. We get the same type of history all year round,
I
but yet
just think
they don't want to introduce new people.
the educational system needs a massive shake up, like a massive shake up. Like you said in the beginning, now with the whole corona, we've had to do loads of homeschooling. And my friend even said to me the other day, she was like, dude, we can't get the work done in a day that they're giving us to do. Like, Harry will sit there for 6 hours, like, obviously, have a break for lunch, and he's still not enough time to get all of the work done. And I said, listen, just do what you can, because
Well,
I.
how about this? How about this? This is going to blow your mind. How about inner city? Some of these people can't even afford
Hmm,
Wi-Fi. Some
yeah.
people can't even afford tablets, and some people don't have laptops. Some people are unafforded with tablets, and they're giving them to them, not understanding that, yeah, you just gave my son a tablet, but yet we have no Wi-Fi. We
Hmm,
can't afford it. So how is virtual learning helping every child? Because it's not.
no.
It's not. Inner city don't have it like that. Some parents, God rest my soul, some parents are not fortunate to have internet. You know what? I'd rather keep my roof over my head than to have internet. But then you got people who are so ignorant to the fact that, well, these parents have iPhones and yada yada yada. That's the way of the world. You can't blame a parent who has a cell phone but don't have Wi-Fi,
But the
or
thing
you
is,
know
though,
what I
you
mean?
can you can go to the libraries here and use the computer, but you have to pay for that now. You have to pay
Mhm.
per hour to go and use the computer at the library and you can only get, say, a 2-hour window, but you couldn't say, okay, I want to pay for 2 hours and then after the 2 hours pay again, because they're like, well, somebody else needs to use it. So 2 hours is your maximum.
Hmm. So I mean, it's just to me, they really need to figure out the education here, and I mean, it's just crazy. And then let's not even go into college because you got standardized tests, which is basically for the district, money for the district, but then you have SATs, which are kind of designated for your placement in college. Okay. And to me, like I said again, not everybody studies the same, not everybody looks at the same. So why do people have to take a SAT to want to go to a school that they know they want to go to, that they think that's going to benefit them? Why do I have to take a test to go to that school? I'm not understanding that. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, why am I paying like an arm and a leg just to go to that school? Do y'all have to pay to like college tuition and
Oh
all that?
yeah, there's loads of people get into debt, and they leave. Oh, like some people are like, yes, I've qualified. I've got a 2-1 or a this or a that from qualified from uni, but I'm 30 grand in debt because I've got to pay my student loans back.
Hmm.
And this is what I
Now,
don't know what the schools spend on the monies. I know the school Alfie's at now, obviously they get funded by the government, but every few weeks I get a message. Oh, don't forget your payments outstanding. I'm like, payment for what? Oh, it's a voluntary payment so that we can afford to get pens and stationery and stuff for the classroom. Well, it's not voluntary then, is it? Because you're asking me to pay. Voluntary is, do I choose to pay or not? But you're asking me, I need to pay, I think it's either £6 or £12 every half term. You know,
well, here you gotta pay a school tax. I gotta pay a school tax, and my kids don't even no longer go to school.
so what, you pay
They
that?
no longer go to school here. It's school tax for the district that you're in. You're paying, like you just said, they're paying for like books and lights or whatever the case may be. But my thing is, why am I paying for a school tax that I didn't even go to this school? My kids went here, they graduated. Guess what? School tax should be for a kid for like, I can understand the tax part, but I mean the school tax. If your child is in school,
Hmm.
that school tax should be thrown out the window once your kid is no longer in school. You know what I mean? And I
Hmm.
can understand like if your kids started school, then you pay a little small school tax throughout the years. I get it. But once my son graduates, y'all should be leaving me alone about school tax. I don't go to that school. So why am I kicking my money to that school? And I might not even like that school. You know what I mean? Like I know nothing about, some people move and know nothing about the schools because they don't have any kids yet, but yet they're paying a school tax.
Does
And I
your
don't.
one last question, because I know we're coming to the end now. Does your schools work on a catchment area? By that I mean, like, I live here, so the schools that are in a certain number of miles around my house is where
District.
Alfie can go to. And when it comes to that time, they send you a form and you have to pick your top three. There's no guarantee that you're even going to get them, but you pick your top three. Okay, this is my first choice, second, third choice. Send your form back, and then it's done on a numbers basis. If they've got enough space, yes, you'll get your first choice. If they haven't, you'll get your second,
Uh-uh.
third, and then whatever.
See, here is based on districts. So
Mm.
see, like I'm in the York area, York County. Okay. Like if I was in Harrisburg, I'd be in the Harrisburg district and you would get all those schools right there. That's where you would go in. And they done made it harder now that if say like if I were to move out, okay, say like I moved across the river and I want my son or daughter to go there, you got to have proof that your son or daughter that you live in that area. If not,
You
you
can't.
might have to pay for your child to go to that school. Or if you don't want to pay, then you go to the schools that are in your district. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it is what it is.
It's a postcode lottery, basically. Wherever your zip code, area code, as you'd call it, where
Mhm.
that is compared to the schools is depending on what ones you're going to get to. But we could talk about education in schools for
Yeah,
age.
I mean, we sure can. And let me say something to our viewers. If y'all feel something about this topic, please put a comment in. because I think I'm not the only one that feels that way. She's not the only one that feels this way. And to say we're not against our kids learning about LGBT
No, there's just a
community.
time and a
We're not
place.
saying that we're not mad about them learning about transgender. What we're saying is if they're going to implement that in school, they need to implement life skills as well. That's what we're saying. So I
Yeah.
don't want nobody to be like, "Oh my God, she's bashing
Oh,
LGBT
no,
community,"
not
or
that.
she's giving transgender. Why can't they learn about transgender? We're not saying that, and
No.
I just wanted to correct
I
that
just think
too.
it should be moved up when they're a bit more older to understand it and balance it out with life skills to learn about.
Okay. Well, look, this was our segment, and I just want to say,
I
this
want
is
to
so.
say we need to swap films first.
Oh, yeah. Let's hurry up, hurry up. Swap films.
Yeah, we didn't have any last week. I
Uh,
hunted high and low, and I've got one called Demons Never Die. Have you seen that?
Demons never.
Sorry, we always like to end on a positive, and
Yes.
we could have got heated, and that could have gone on for hours. But
Oh yeah. It's a touchy subject, sweetie.
yeah, and I'm not going to front. I've probably upset
And
at
I'm
least
gonna tell
one
you right
person.
now, it's hard for me to find a movie for you because a lot of our movies you don't even have over there. So I'm gonna start with a Christmas movie for you because it is the holidays. Have you seen Elf?
No.
Make it your business to watch Elf then.
Okay.
Tell me what you
I
think.
mean, everyone talks about it, but it's almost like it's silly funny. Do you know what I mean? Not ha ha funny, which is why I've never watched it. But
Check it out, you'll enjoy it.
now I've
And
got to watch
again,
it.
this is Soph,
And again, this is Rich.
and this is From Across the
That's the
Pond.
fun.
See you guys on Friday.
Have a lovely week, Rich.
Oh, you too, sweetie. Try not to hurt nobody.
I know. I'll try and stay away from Alfie's teachers because I'm telling you, they do a roasting tomorrow after Friday when we got
I
picked up.
remember those days. Teachers were scared of me.
They must hate me, but does this
Oh
face
well.
look like it cares? How to the no.
Till the na na.
See you
Bye,
later.
people.